Hi, my name is Shivam.
My name is Darsh.
And a lot of people are always wondering, what's the difference between iOS and Android? Well, today we're here to explain that to you.
So without any further ado, let's get right into it. So I'll be representing Apple on this side of the debate, and that's kind of why I'm wearing this white shirt, because Apple in a sense is really white.
Darsh, you're racist.
Okay, hold off, Shivam. This is my turn to speak. Jesus. Okay, basically what I meant by white, I mean that their logo and their overall design and aesthetic is white. So I'm going to try to represent them the best I can. So the first thing I want to talk about is design language, and that's because the overall design of each iPhone is really well constructed and really well done. I really like the design language and the design form. I really like how it's very seamless with the operating system. If you don't understand what that means, I mean that the external part of the phone is really well done, and it's really great to communicating with the operating system of it. So that's really it when it comes to design. I really like it, and that's one of the main reasons why I pick up an iPhone. Alright, so my next point and my next pro about the iPhone is that it's universally accepted with a bunch of different manufacturers for cases and just things to make your phone look a lot better. So like I mentioned earlier, the design language of the phone makes it look really nice, and I really like how it works. But when it comes to accessories are sometimes and somewhat really hard to find for other devices, kind of like Nokia phones or like Windows phones or Android phones, because they're so different in so many different ways. So having the iPhone being mainstream and having one design for the new phone makes it a lot easier to find different accessories. Alright, so the next thing I'm talking about, and my third topic, is basically the fact that iPhones have a great ecosystem of devices to work with. So first of all, the design language is unified between every single one of the devices in the Apple ecosystem, meaning the same font, the same design, and the same overall flat design UI will be available on the Apple TV, on the MacBook, on the iPhone, on the iPad, and so on. So basically everything just looks really nice together. And the next point when it comes to the whole ecosystem is the fact that everything is integrated with each other. So with the iPhone, there's a handoff feature that works with the Macs, so you can be on your phone typing up something in Pages, and then what you can do is it can transfer over to your Mac via this small little icon in the taskbar. So this works really well when it comes to communicating between both of the devices, and this happens with a bunch of different things like AirPlay on Apple TV. Alright, so usually in this kind of part of a review, I'd be like, there are cons. And in this case, because it's Apple, there are no cons.
Shut up, Darsh.
Okay, fine. There are cons. As many of you may know, and as many of you may think, I am a big Apple fanboy. I am a big Apple fan. But guess what? There are a bunch of cons with Apple devices, and I'm about to state them right now. First off, being customizability. So with the iPhone, the big problem is it's very locked down, meaning that a lot of the things you think you could do, you actually can't. Like downloading third-party apps from online, you can't do that, and Apple restricts it. You only have to use these small little loopholes that actually really mess with your device if you ever want to do it, or jailbreak it, which actually was illegal at one point in years past. So really, Apple makes the OS really locked down. So basically, I'm going to talk about the old technologies that have recently been added to the iPhone, and that kind of includes NFC and so on, with 4K recording alongside it. Basically, with adding all these old different things that have already been available with different devices like Android devices that have been recently added to an iPhone, it really stops the functionality of it, and it creates this overall barrier between it. So when it comes to using an iPhone, there's a lot of limited functionality with it because of all these different features that haven't been added and that have been available in the market for. Alright, so my last topic and my last point is actually the fact that iPhones are super expensive and that they cost so much money. And with paying all this money, fine, you're going to buy a great phone, but with it, you're going to be buying some really big design flaws. And that being like Bendgate from last year, where if you sat on your iPhone 6, it would bend. And this year, Chipgate, where some of the phones don't work as well as the others. So really, with such an expensive phone, you shouldn't expect for there to be these many design flaws. Plus, it's just really expensive, and who has money for that?
Alright guys, so I'm going to be repping Android or Green Team, #EarthRangers. So the first big point of Android that makes a lot of people choose it over Apple is the customizability. So one great thing about Android is that it's a really open operating system, as opposed to iOS, which Darsh already talked about, is really locked down. So with Android, you have the power to change your launcher, which is how your phone interacts with what you see on your screen, your icon pack, so what the app icons look like, and things like that. So you can really make your Android look however you want it to. So while for a lot of people, they're not willing to put in the time and effort, a lot of us feel that having that customizability is a great thing, as you can do whatever you want. Like for example, a really simple thing that Android can do that iOS can't. If you want to have more than 5 rows of 4 apps, you can't do that, which is why getting an Android is way better, so your device can really be your device. Alright, so since Android is a much more open operating system, It's a lot easier for developers to create applications for it, as opposed to Apple where you require permission and everything is more locked down to get on the app market. So what this means is that going on Android will give you a greater selection of apps and different things you can do on your phone, as opposed to an iPhone where your options of what you can do aside from what Apple gives you is very limited. Alright, so lastly, one big advantage of Android is that there's an Android device for every price range and every requirement. If you're on a really tight budget, you can still have a great smartphone running Android. If you have a lot of money and you want to spend on something great, there are a lot of high-end flagships. But the biggest advantage of Android is that you get a lot of bang for your buck, no matter what you choose, as there's a variety of great devices, since there's so many people producing phones, as opposed to iPhone and Apple being the only producer. In regards to cons for Androids, there are no cons.
You suck, Shivam. There are cons, obviously. Get back here.
Alright, so while I was showboating earlier, there really are some big cons to Android. Alright, so unfortunately, one of Android's biggest strengths is also its biggest weakness. So since there's a bunch of different manufacturers producing different devices running the same OS, there's an inconsistency in features. So for example, a Moto X style can shake the camera, but as you can see, when I pull up my Nexus 5 and shake it, nothing happens. So since all these different manufacturers are not willing to share their various secrets and uniqueness of their devices, this creates a big problem. And this brings me to skins, which I'll be discussing in a second. Alright, finally this brings me to one of my biggest pet peeves in Android that's absolutely destroying the ability of Android to be the best it can be. As you can see, my phone, which is the Nexus 5, has a really clean looking system. Unfortunately, what a lot of producers do, and a lot of manufacturers have their own versions of, is something called a skin. This takes base Android and makes it look way different, and this is really fracturing the potential of Android. So it really messes the design language, which means the unity of how everything looks when you look at your phone. And when people see an Android device, they can't tell it's the same because all of them look so different. Okay, so this is also a really big problem because while it's fracturing the design language, it's messing with the vision of what Android is supposed to be. So while Google has a vision for Android, each of these developers also has their own vision for Android, and this is annoying because none of them want to achieve the same thing, which means that Android is splitting into different directions and doesn't have one path towards advancing into the future, whereas Apple produces their own thing and makes it really easy for them to transition into future models and future versions of their operating system. Alright, and for the final con, while Android's ecosystem is really improving and is a lot more wide and covers more things than Apple's does, it's not nearly as seamless, and the transition between different devices and services can sometimes be really annoying to use on Android. Additionally, with the addition of OEM skins, they have their own set of apps and things like that, which makes it really hard to use Android as a design language. So while Android is a great operating system, it does have its problems, and using it as a system of things is really weak. Alright, so at this point, you really are probably expecting us to tell you, get an iPhone, or get an Android, or iOS is better, or Android is better. But in reality, that's not what we're here to do today.
So basically what we're here to do is we're here to show you that if you want some great quality materials, you have the money, and you want something a bit more mainstream with a great ecosystem, get an iPhone. But if you want to go a bit more on a budget, or you want more of a variety to choose from, get an Android. Because it has a lot more customizability, it may be more in your skill set or in your availability.
Alright, as always, thanks for watching our video. I hope we were able to help you. And make sure to subscribe to Darshkitanya on YouTube, but low-key, Android is better.
Shut up!